when you start to put out that energy in the world of looking inward on who is the person I want to be, how do I change me to serve me, to create the relationships that I want, everything starts to fall into peace.
Hi and welcome to Lead Well. Welcome to this week's episode, and my guest today is Bianca D'Alessio. Hi, Bianca.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here with you today.
Yeah, so good to have you as a guest. So I know about you that you are not only a top real estate leader and a TV personality, how exciting, from Selling the Hamptons, but you're also an author of Mastering Intentions, 10 Practices to Amplify Your Power and Lead with Lasting Impact. And I had to talk to you because this is so similar to what my ideas are about leading, because I'm always saying that we can only lead if we are looking on the long term.
Yep.
So short-term productivity, short-term success is really not sustainable. And I'm really curious to talk to you about that. And so in your book, you show how living with purpose and intention can transform not only your own life, but also how you lead and inspire others. Wow,
Yes.
I'm so looking forward to this.
I am too. And I think what's important for me and what I hope to empower everyone who reads it or hears this is that whether you consider yourself a leader or not, you are the CEO, you are the author, you are the captain of your own life journey. And that's so important for us to each of us to reclaim our power for how we take control over our emotions, our behaviors, our habits, our interactions with our family members, our partners, our professional colleagues, everyone in our life. We have control over that, whether or not it feels like we're always in control at a certain point in time or not. And so that's what my goal was, and what my hope is of writing this book, is to empower people to realize this is your life and this is your story. Tell it the way that you want to.
That's great. So it's why you've written the book. Now, why now?
Why now? That's a great question. I wanted to write a book from when I was a young girl. Growing up, I struggled a lot with mental health issues. I was depressed at a very young age. And I found writing to be an incredible source and a relief for how I could process my thoughts and my emotions, because I was unable to really verbalize what I was thinking and what I was feeling and what was going on in my head. And so I always had this connection to writing for processing as a form of therapy. And in the past few years, I started my company. I've been in real estate for a decade now, and it's had lots of ups and downs, but I started my company 4 years ago. And for the first time stepping into that founder CEO role, that was a very big transformation for me. That came with a lot of highs, but it also came with a lot of lows. And it took me a while during that period of time when so much was also going on in the background of my personal life, my family life, my professional life, to really feel confident stepping into my power and giving my brain the ability to catch up with where I had become in my professional journey. And so it's years later, and now I'm starting to realize, wow, what was that journey like? And what this book actually started as a real estate sales book. And as I was writing it, I was like, this just doesn't feel it, because the story is so much bigger than that. For all of us, no matter where we are in our life's journey, we have something to share and we have something to tell. And there was a true power moment of recognition of, wow, I am connecting with people so much better by being authentic and vulnerable and sharing my story. But we all have one to share. And once you start to embrace that, the liberation that comes with that is really quite remarkable. And so that's why right now I've had time to digest all of that and put it into words for how could I write a book that's not about my story. It has snippets of my story to help share how these practices come into play, but how to help the readers work through and navigate their own life experience and to have these tangible tools for how they can reclaim that control and that power.
Wow, wonderful. I think also in your book, you put a lot of emphasis also on purpose. So that's one of
Yes.
my 4 pillars as well.
Mhm.
Now, you talk about purpose as the foundation. So how did you discover your purpose? Because I'm always saying, well, the purpose is not something that you're searching or looking for. It's something that you create yourself. Or what's your view on that?
Yeah, I believe purpose reveals itself over time and over continuous effort of continuing to look inward and to work on yourself and feeling good about the work that you're doing. So much of my leadership journey has been interviewing and training and coaching young professionals, both in leadership capacities and entry level entrance into the market. And so often I ask people, what is their purpose? And I think that question's a really big question to ask. And I think everyone always has an answer. But I think the most important thing that I found with identifying and understanding your purpose is just getting started,
Mhm.
is making the mistakes, is embracing failure, celebrating the wins, and then feeling, where do you feel most connected? Where do you feel the most at ease in your life? And how do you create the synergies between your personal life and your professional life so you don't have to have this clocking in and checking out mentality, where you create alignment in both arenas of how you're living?
Mm.
And I used to think back to, how do I identify my purpose? Well, I have this strong want to help people. And what started as manifesting in, okay, well, I'll help people find their home. So I became a real estate agent. And then I will help people grow their business. So I started selling homes and helping people accumulate wealth and reinvest their money. And then this purpose and this passion for helping people, it's morphed and it's changed over time to growing my own business and
Mhm.
starting my own team, and then recognizing, gosh, well, the book becomes the vehicle to helping more people. And that is what it is. And now through coaching and through these conversations, it starts to reveal itself. I would have never sat down when I was, starting my career at 21 in the real estate world and think, oh, I'd have a platform and I'd have community and have that. Sure, those may have things things I wanted, but I didn't know what the path was to get there. So I think so much of identifying your purpose is embracing and trusting the process in order to get there.
Mm. And also have a bit of a more longer view, not so much
Oh,
focusing also only on today and maybe tomorrow, but really have an idea of where I want to go.
Oh, for
Broader.
sure. Staying power is everything. So often people jump in and out of careers or in and out of relationships and in and out of partnerships. I think a lot needs to reveal itself over time. I write a whole chapter on playing the long game. My career, where I am today, it is a culmination of the past decade of showing up every single day, good day or bad day, when I was on a high or on a low, but the repeated continuous effort and the compounding effect that has happened in my career because of having that staying power and that longevity. 100% you need to have a long view when you're working towards that.
Yeah. And I think the idea of having a goal or goals is it's no longer in fashion. I think you replace the goal with intention.
Tension.
Yeah. Where do you
Yeah.
see the difference there?
Yeah. So, I've always been someone who's goal oriented, but what does that actually mean? Like the way I used to identify and set up and target my goals was very, very toxic to me because it was all metric specific. And this is how I was taught. This is how I was trained, right?
Mm.
Create SMART goals, something that's attainable, something that's measurable. Well, then I started just having my eye on the prize of, okay, what is that number on a piece of paper? What is that target? How fast am I getting there? How hard am I working to get there? And what that did is it put blinders on me to all of these other opportunities that were coming my way because this was the goal. This is the vision. This is what I was working towards. Few years ago I started to change. I was like, gosh, I find myself, all I am is I'm achieving all of the things. To everyone else I look phenomenally successful, but to me I feel empty, I feel isolated, I'm frustrated with myself. Something's wrong. Something is wrong with the way that I'm setting goals. So I started to reframe, okay, how do I live a more intentional life? If I focus on becoming the best version of Bianca I could become, the the goals will start to achieve themselves because I'm working on me. So I started this process of identifying intentions. How in the new year, I use the new year because I like that turn of the page. How in the new year could I recognize, what am I lacking? Where am I missing in my life? And focus my effort and my energy on three things, three intentions that I have for myself. In the first year I did this, I felt truly like chained to my desk in my professional career, and I was lacking inspiration. So I wanted to feel liberated. I wanted to feel inspired, and I wanted to be more disciplined in my practice. And I just focused on those three things. And everything, every conversation, every business interaction, every personal relationship started to work around, does this make me feel liberated, inspired, and disciplined? And I was making decisions based on the intention I had set out. If it didn't, the answer was no. And it meant turning away business, and it meant shutting some long term friendships and relationships out of my life to create room for other people to emerge, to create room for the right people to enter that space. And so that's what I think a seismic jump in how I stepped into my power is attributed to that, because I was focused on how do I continue to work on becoming the best version of me. The goals are still here, but not linear on this is what I need to achieve. Instead of how do I create the well-rounded Bianca? How do I create the well-rounded environment and relationships that I want? And then the goals are going to follow in their own time.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. And I think you also talk about your brain a lot.
Yeah.
It's so interesting because I think you call it a brain bully. And I had a conversation not long ago with a wonderful woman, Lori Pappas, and she said one day in her bed, she woke up and she's like, I need to stop my brain bullying me. And
Yes.
yeah, very similar experience there. So what's yours?
Yes. So this concept of a brain bully came out when I was working with a media coach. She was helping me prepare to start talking on TV, which is something I'd done a lot at that time. But she's like, Bianca, why aren't you showing up? And I'm like, because I think I'm not smart enough, and I think I'm not good enough. And she's like, that's your brain bully. That is talking to you, and it's telling you you are none of these things, but you are smart and you know your industry. You are the top ranked salesperson in New York City, New York State, in the nation. Why is your brain telling you you're not good enough? And then I started really thinking about it. I'm like, gosh, this comes out in my relationships. I'm not deserving of love. I'm not entitled to this success. So that's the brain bully. It's the person, it's the thing inside of here that's saying, and we all have this. We're not good enough, we're not pretty enough, we're not smart enough, we're not skinny enough, we're not tall enough, we're not this, we're not athletic enough, all the things. How do we silence that? And she gave me this incredible way to target that. But what it all boiled down to for me was, how do I have the immediate result? And I recognize if my brain is telling me that, I'm projecting that into the universe. I need to correct that right now. And I need to do it the first thing when I wake up in the morning. And the first thing that I do, and I've always had this practice of talking to myself in the mirror, being my own hype woman, because no one's going to cheer for me more than I'm going to cheer for me. No one cares about my success more than I care about my success. So I need to be my number one cheerleader. And so I talk to my brain bully in the morning. Bianca, you've got this. Let's go. This is going to be really hard this afternoon, but you could do it. Power through. Let's get through 3 o'clock, and then things are going to get easier. And I just have it. And I do that not just in the morning, but when I'm going into a huge meeting and I feel this is a big one. This is a big deal. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot riding on this. Like, you've got this. You got a seat at the table. You were awarded this meeting. Own it. Control it. And so I use this as a way to combat that all of the time. And it's been a very, very successful tool for me. And I encourage other people. It may sound a little crazy to be talking to yourself, but I promise it really works.
Because we are talking to ourselves, and just the
Yes.
other voice is more detrimental. So why not
Yes.
use a voice that's encouraging us?
That's so true. 100%.
Wow. Yeah. So the way I usually do it, I have two approaches. The one is, first of all, to figure out whose voice is talking to me, because in so many cases it's really parents or any person that we've kind of come across, usually as a child, that's still sitting there and talking to us, and
Yes.
and change
Absolutely.
that voice and literally turn down the volume, because we can.
Yeah. Yeah, we can. We can, but it takes a very concentrated effort to continue to remind ourselves over and over again, what is this story that we are telling ourselves about our own lives? And there's so much power in rewriting your own narrative. We all have, every single person on this entire earth has a unique and special story. It's how they were raised, the values they were taught with, what was absent or missing from their life, or how they show up in the world. That's powerful because that is how you connect with other people. That has shaped you to become the person for how you show up in the world. And so it's reclaiming that and finding the words to communicate it. But with all of that comes the baggage that exists here. So how do you rewrite it? Rewrite it to work for you, because you only get one of these lives. How are you going to make it work and serve you?
Yeah, that's so cool. Now, the other idea that I learned from you, or I would be interested to learning from you, is the companion audit.
Yes.
What's that about?
I think that goes back to exactly what you just said about this story that we have from our parents and our siblings and this and that. You know, so how I came, I'll start with how I came to find the companion audit. I was finding myself, as my business grew, I felt like there was more of a disconnect with the people who were closest to me because so much had changed, right? I had shifted from this Bianca who was a kid, who my parents knew, who my friends knew, who my siblings knew, now into this woman who is running a business and operating in a different world. And again, the brain doesn't catch up fast enough
Mm.
to who you actually are in that point in time. It takes a period of time of being in that place before everyone understands. And I was getting frustrated. First of all, I felt like my family wasn't understanding who I was
Mhm.
and what I was trying to do and what I was working so hard to build. And I was getting frustrated and upset with them. And then I reached a point in time where I need to stop letting their story of me impact who I am and how I show up. And I need to release and let them go of the expectations that I have of them. Instead of focusing on why aren't they doing this for me, or why aren't they showing up, or why aren't they more supportive, or why aren't they more happy, instead focus on who's Bianca. I know who they are. I've identified who they are as a person. How can I better serve the relationship that I want to have with that person? So the companion audit breaks up every single companion in your life, both personal and professional. So your siblings, your grandparents, your parents, your work colleagues, your mentors, your superiors at work. Every single person falls into a different bucket because you show up differently for all of those people. And how instead do you start to manifest the person you want to be to create the best relationship you want with that person? And I want to give this example because I feel like this is the easiest for people to understand. With significant others, I feel so often people are, this is the checklist of all of the things I want my partner to be. And so they go out into the world looking to check the boxes on that checklist. And when I did this, I was single at the time. I had just gotten out of a very long term relationship, and I had spent the few years being totally alone and working on me. And I'm like, okay, I think I'm ready to re enter the dating world. Very scary. Okay. But instead of focusing on who I want that partner to be, who do I want Bianca to be in that relationship? So I was feminine, vulnerable, funny, laughing all of the time, feeling carefree, feeling someone's going to take care. Who am I showing up in that relationship? And I wrote all these things down. I wrote my companion audit on, I think I had 9 pieces of paper. I had them taped to my bedroom wall. And I'd wake up every day and I'm like, yes, I want to be vulnerable. I want to be feminine, versus the companion audit I had for a mentor that I had, or for my team I have, is strong willed, coming in with my masculine energy. It was totally different. So I had to segment the two different Biancas. And 6 months later, randomly at an event that I was throwing, I found who is now my significant other. And I wasn't searching for it. We had bumped into each other. I had laughed carefree. And I was like, gosh, there's something to this. When you start to put out that energy in the world of looking inward on who is the person I want to be, how do I change me to serve me, to create the relationships that I want, everything starts to fall into pieces. There's a full framework in the book to help the readers navigate through that whole process, but that is a small snippet of how it works.
Wow, that's cool. And it also contains this idea of how do I want to feel with that person? Because I think
Yes.
often we think about what we think and what is and the material things, but at the end of the day, the most important thing is how I feel.
Straightforward. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
For
Wow.
sure, we all want to feel safe. We all want to feel loved. We all want to feel understood in every relationship we're in,
Mm.
right? That is not unique to just your significant other. We want to feel safe. We want to feel understood. We want to feel loved in the workplace, with our parents, with our kids, with our siblings, with everyone. So it's how do you, but that looks different. That love is given and received different in all of those different spheres. So how do you bring that inward to start to change your
Yeah.
behavior and your mindset?
And still be authentic, because as you said,
Yes.
I have a different, well, I would probably call it a role in the different relationships, and still it's me, it's my authentic self.
Yes. 100%. And that's okay. I think that's confusing too. At least I know for me, that was really confusing. As I was like, gosh, there's so many different versions of the same me. Am I still being me? And yeah, of course I am.
Yeah.
But we wear all of these different hats in these different arenas of our life, and that's just life.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I once read about this idea I found fascinating, that it's really, I have an image of myself, but then every single person I come across has an image of me, which is totally different. So there are quite a few out of there, like me's.
Yes, exactly.
Ah, that's
Totally.
wonderful. You already shared quite a few practices, but is there something specific from your book that listeners could try today that
Yeah.
you would like to share?
I think being grounded, the most simplistic one in the book is the practice of gratitude.
Mm,
Is being thankful, not just for all the things you have, but for the things you don't have that you're working towards, and recognizing the positivity that needs to come out and that will come out once you start experiencing gratitude. I know even during my darkest, lowest moments, what I would hold on to was, gosh, this is terrible. And I hate this and I can't wait for it to be over. But I'm thankful that this is happening to me now. Or I'm thankful for the person I'm going to become when this really difficult period of life is over and I'm stronger because of it. And there is gratitude and there is thanks in everything. And I know it's hard, especially when you're at those moments of despair, but finding a gratitude practice for you. Because if you open your arms up to the world and you say thanks and you appreciate all that comes with it, the good, the bad, the ugly, just things start happening differently. And
mm,
your perspective and your outlook for how it shifts and changes your mind will dramatically, dramatically change.
mm. And yeah, I totally agree, because also there are so many things that we tend to take as a given,
Yeah.
and we could be thankful for, we could be grateful for. I mean, that I'm seeing, I can speak, I can walk.
Yes.
Sure, it's, we all take it for granted, but it's not.
Yep. Absolutely.
Mm,
Absolutely. Life changes very, very quickly. Everyone lives very different lives with very different circumstances. We have no idea what's really going on in someone's life as we go.
yeah,
So being grateful for what we have at the point in time when we have it.
wonderful. Now, which of the 10 practices do you find that people found most difficult to put in place?
Manifestation.
Okay.
I think there's people who get manifesting, and then there are people who are like, that doesn't work, and I don't believe in that. The power of manifestation is so powerful. And there's different manifestation tools and techniques for everyone. Some people believe in vision boards, other people believe in lists. But to me, setting your intention and setting your goal and manifesting something and living not just in the if and when that happens, but who am I when that happens?
Mhm,
How do you prepare your mind and your body to be ready to accept and receive the life you are working towards, or the goal or the aspiration you are hoping to achieve?
mm,
If you're not ready for it, if you're not living in that moment, when it comes to you, you may not be ready to receive it. Like you may not even recognize it's at your front door
mm,
waiting for you because you're not there yet. And so really I talk about acting as if it has already happened, stepping into that power. Manifestation is huge, the small things, the big things, and giving again time. Life, the time and the grace that it needs for them to happen. I don't believe that you could say, I'm manifesting this and I need it to happen in this period. It may happen, it may not happen. But once all of a sudden you start bringing something to the top of your mind every single day, how you start to look at opportunities and experiences and tracking these things are so different because it's right here. Like you're noticing things different. And manifestation is incredibly, incredibly powerful. So I encourage people to try.
Cool. Wow. Yeah, interesting. Also, because as you said, when you live as if you already were that person, then you change habits, you change routines,
Yes.
you change your thoughts, you change your thinking.
The way you show up in the world and people notice.
Wow, that's cool. Now, if someone wants to start living more intentionally tomorrow, or maybe already today, where should they begin?
Gosh, where should they begin? Where I recommend that you start is I think it's really understanding who you are and how you're showing up in the world today. Understanding, I think it's very important to get rid of your limiting beliefs for why you feel you cannot and actively work to squash those. Where the book actually begins though is starting by charting your life and creating what I call a life journey map. Because in order to rewrite your story, you have to understand your story. In order to control the future narrative, you have to understand where you are and how you're showing up today. So chapter 1 of the book is literally charting all of your highs, all of your lows, recognizing these moments of resilience, the beautiful path that you've been on, all the lessons life has taught you, even in those really, really difficult times, learning to express and give gratitude for them, for how they have shaped you. And I would say that's a great starting point. Pick up the book.
Oh, that's great. Now I could go on with you forever because
I
also
know, me
I
too.
think there is a quite a bit in common. But
Yes.
I have a last question for you, and that's really, what is your vision?
My vision is to help empower people to want to share their story and to embrace vulnerability and authenticity in the way that they're living. Because I feel if we bring more of that into the world, it becomes just such a beautiful place. Our connections will be deeper. We're going to be living more fulfilled lives. And I think it's really easy in today's world to get bogged down in all of the bad things that are happening. And yeah, there are a lot of them, but we can't let the media or world situations or economics control how we show up, because you know what, we only get one of these. So I want to give people back power in their lives to recognize this is it, this is how we show up, and amidst all of the chaos and craziness, we could still live a very happy, very fulfilled life and make an impact. We all have the ability to make an impact.
And if it's not us to bring positivity, then there is none.
There is none. There
Yeah.
is none.
Wow, that's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for this wonderful book. I'm so curious now to read it through. I skimmed it through, but now I will definitely read it.
Yeah.
So I will also, of course, link it into the show notes, as well as do you have any website that you want to mention?
Yeah, you could visit me at biancadalessio.com for more resources, or you could follow me very actively every day on social media on Instagram and LinkedIn.
Wonderful. I'm sure I'll do that, and my listeners will do as well. Thank you so much, Bianca, for this wonderful conversation. Thank you.
Thank you for having me on. This is great.
Thank you. This was Lead Well. Now, what is the one thing that you're taking away from this episode? Please share in the comments below, and do share the podcast with your friends and family, but only if you like it.